The NL Central better take notice because the Cincinnati Reds lineup, it makes sense now.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in all the land. Thanks for your help in getting us there. As always, we are your team every single day, and we are good vibes only today. My name's Stephen Offenbaker. His name's Jeff Carr. We love the Cincinnati Reds. We love baseball. We love talking about those things. In fact, so much so, we've been doing it for a combined 16 years in podcast form. On today's show, the Reds got it done. Good vibes only. Eugenio Suarez is coming back to town as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. On today's show, we're going to be talking about all things Geno. We're going to talk about the impacts of the Eugenio Suarez signing and what it does now for the pecking order in the National League Central. We're going to talk about what Geno has done, what Geno did last year, and what we expect him to do in this lineup as power hitter #1, the 4-spot cleanup dude. The Reds got their guy. We are so excited. We're also going to talk about the impacts of what this will do for the players around Geno. All that on today's show, brought to you by FanDuel. It is the last call for football, believe it or not, although we're neck deep in spring training already. Last call for football over at FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you can get $200 in bonus bets back. If you win, check out FanDuel today. But what I want to check out right now, Jeff, is good vibes only, because the Reds just added to their lineup a bona fide bopper, 49 home runs last season, Eugenio Suarez. The good vibes are flowing.
I look, if you're the Chicago Cubs, if you're the Milwaukee Brewers, you are worried. You are very worried about what the Cincinnati Reds present, because we talked about it on Saturday's live stream. The idea that this team's pitching staff is World Series ready. It's just, please get us something with the lineup, anything with the lineup. What is the lineup going to be? And we were prepared, at least I was prepared, to be like, all right, let's squint really hard and see how Rhys Hoskins or Miguel Andujar or anybody makes this lineup even just a sliver better, just a little bit better. Eugenio Suarez is so much better than that. 49 home runs in Arizona and Seattle. Like, I get it. There's a lot of people that are trying to tell you that, oh boy, after he got traded to Seattle, he wasn't all that good last year. But even Arizona is far more of a pitcher's park than Great American Ballpark. We know how close he came to setting the Reds record. I mean, I know that he was still a few off from George Foster, but 2019, man, he hit 49 home runs in all the Great American Ballpark. He has done it. He can do it. Maybe he will do it this season, but we're talking about lineup protection. We're talking about the guy that other pitchers fear. The Reds have that now, and the division is what we're taking aim for.
You know, it's going to be fun, Jeff, because in the back of my head right now, all I can hear is like, the voice that Adam Sandler does when Happy Gilmore learns how to putt. I hear Adam Sandler in my head going, somebody learn to hit homers. The Reds are going to be able to score some runs. You and I talked about just the other day that they needed to get their average runs per game up just a little bit more. They were like 4.4 last season. They needed to be able to score runs in bunches a little bit more. They needed to push closer to 5. The Reds score, 4.7 to 5 runs a game. They're going to win a lot of baseball games. Putting Eugenio Suarez in this lineup behind TJ Friedl, behind Noelvi Marte, behind Elly De La Cruz, that's going to score some runs. This gives Elly the protection that he needs in this lineup to do big things. I am so excited. I am so excited. It's a guy this city loves. It's a guy that the city's going to get behind. It's a guy that's going to perform really, really well. And it's a guy that is in a different role than he was in when he was here before. Everybody's going to talk about the fact that, well, he can't play third base anymore. No, they're not bringing him in here to play third base. They're bringing him in here to hit 49 home runs. He's going to play DH. He's going to play a little bit of first base. You can move the other guys around to get the off days and keep this lineup potent for 162 games. That's the exciting part of this.
This really feels like, and we're going to talk a lot more about how the roster shapes up now that they've got it done. golly, Ned, we've had an offseason that makes sense for once here in Cincinnati. I don't know what to do with my hands. But at the same time, this makes everything else make sense. Like, we talk about the fact that Ke'Bryan Hayes is a light hitting third baseman, and that only makes sense if you make up for it in other areas. That's what Geno does. And if you really want to get into the nitty gritty and look at the peripherals and look at the quality of contact and things like that, was he a little bit lucky or whatever? His expected slugging percentage was in the top quarter of the league last year. His barrel percentage was in the top 10% of the league last year. His hard hit rate was in the top 20% of the league last year. We're talking about a dude that was getting it done and was not faking it. Like, I don't know how you fake it to get to 49 home runs. So obviously he's going to look well in these peripherals, but we're not talking about a guy that's like falling off here. And I understand there's going to be some folks that want to make detractions and things like that. But this is the one thing that this team has needed. As much as they have guys who can get on base and who can hit them where they ain't and can have a nice line drive here and there, they didn't have the bopper. Eugenio Suarez is the bopper. You bring this bopper into the lineup, and the Reds are now legitimate division contenders. This is what the goal should be every year. I understand that there's a thought that, okay, small market, you go for 82 wins. You hope you catch lightning in a barrel or a bucket or a glass or lightning in a bottle, whatever it might be. Eugenio Suarez is not the, oh, we're hoping we catch lightning in a bottle. This guy's done it before. And so you have the electricity of Elly De La Cruz, who is going to be seeing some better pitches now, because if somebody has to pitch to Eugenio Suarez with Elly De La Cruz on base because they walked him, boy, that momentum. Great American Ballpark is going to be so electric this year, Steve. And this has been the move that we have been pining for all off season. I get it, the bullpen looks better, and I get it that the Reds really have a deep pitching staff, but we just wanted one dude to hang our hat on in this lineup, and now we got him.
You and I have been talking for a couple weeks now about how this is the move that made sense. And maybe Nick's listening. Nick, we appreciate you. Thanks. I hope you're subscribed. Yes. Thanks for being an everydayer, Nick Krall. We appreciate it. This is the move we've been calling for. They went out and did it. Let's just talk about the move, because really, this is a pretty good contract. If you're the Cincinnati Reds and you look at this deal, this is a good deal for the Reds. They get Geno this year, $15 million. There's also a mutual option for a extension into 2027. Whether or not that season's even going to happen, we don't know. This is a good deal for the Reds, $15 million. This, by our math, was about what they had to play with. This is the money we thought they had to spend. And this doesn't involve needing to trade a Tyler Stevenson or needing to trade a Brady Singer. This was the money we felt like they had. So I love this move. I love they were able to get it done. I love that they were able to do it in such a way that, it feels like not only did the Reds go out and get a guy they absolutely needed, they absolutely had to have, but they're getting a guy, it sounds like, that wanted to be here and worked within the framework of what the Reds actually had to offer.
Nick Krall, for once, is going to just get all of his flowers, because he said this after the Pierce Johnson move, or not the Pierce, after the Gavin Lux trade where they got Brock, where he was asked if that was to make room for the Pierce Johnson signing. That's what that was. That's why he got those wires crossed. But the whole point was, he was asked if that was to pay for another move, and he said, no, we are still looking to upgrade this lineup. You did it. You did exactly what you needed to do. He's not Kyle Schwarber. I understand that, but he was the best hitter available. And there were a lot of teams that were talking to this guy. There was a lot of rumors that the Red Sox were, involved in getting him. Were the Mariners going to bring him back? Some were thinking maybe even the Yankees make a play for him. The Reds got in front of all of them and brought a Eugenio Suarez back. So Nick Krall deserves all the credit right here. Like, for once, as much as we have bashed them and as much as we have, complained about how this offseason has moved, now that we are sitting here in February, 8 days left until pitchers and catchers report, the roster makes sense. And I think that's the key with all of this. Like, in and of himself, Eugenio Suarez is a bit on the decline. We can make that argument. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later on in spring training. But as you put the lineup together and as you put the roster together now with Eugenio Suarez, it all makes sense, as we will outline coming up next. It's the last call for football over on FanDuel. But quite frankly, right now, if you live in the city of Cincinnati, you don't care about football, because the Reds just got a Eugenio Suarez, and we're ready for opening day. Pitchers and catchers report like 8 days. You can catch some futures over on FanDuel for the division right now. In fact, they haven't moved just yet. The Reds are still at plus 340 to win the NL Central, still third behind the Cubs and the Brewers. You best go get that right now, because as spring training gets going, that's only going to get smaller. The payout's going to get smaller. Go jump on plus 340 right now over on FanDuel. There's other stuff too as you begin your FanDuel journey. You can place a $5 bet, and if it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets thanks to the big game going on next Sunday. But like I said, jump on FanDuel, check out that future, plus 340 to win the division, and load that one up, because I'm feeling good about it, and you should too. Good vibes only here in the city of Cincinnati. By the way, FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making us your good vibes transmitter on this day and every single day here on the Locked On Reds podcast. Look, you already make us your team every single day. Now, make sure you turn it up a notch and go ad-free. Check out the Locked On Reds Everyday Club on lockedonreds.supercast.com. For $5 a month or $50 for the whole year, get an ad-free podcast feed, and you get a members-only Discord chat and a couple of other good things there. You got to check out that link to learn more. I also got the link down in the description of today's episode, so you can click on it there. I'm so fired up because this move actually happened, Steve. I didn't think it was going to. I honestly believed that he was going to go back to Seattle and that the Reds were going to get somebody else, and we were going to have to squint really hard, turn our head to the side, and turn the lights down low to really make sense of it. Eugenio Suarez is not that type of player, because now when you look at the lineup, you put him fourth, playing DH, or bat him fourth, playing DH. Now, Sal Stewart can play most of his time in the field. Now, Spencer Steer becomes the super utility player that he has always wanted to be, and he can play some time in left field, which at least for the lineup side of things makes things a little bit better. This is why we wanted a Eugenio Suarez, because it also helps make the rest of the starting nine make sense.
Yeah, we did a whole show a few days back there, Jeff, about what the lineup would look like on opening day if the season started right now. So I have some amendments, obviously. We're going to slot Geno in the 4 spot, whether it's right or left-handed pitching, primarily as a DH. So that does move guys around. We had Spencer Steer there. We had him playing first base. Opening day, I imagine, versus a right-handed pitcher, you're going Friedel, Marte, Elly, Suarez, and that center field, right field, shortstop, DH. Steer plays first base at fifth. Stevenson catching, batting sixth. McLean, second base, batting seventh. Benson or Blade, left field, batting eighth. Hayes, batting ninth, playing third base. The lineup versus left-handed pitching gets a lot more interesting, because you make those same moves. You got Friedel in left. You have Dane Myers playing center, batting second. You go Elly in the 3 spot, playing shortstop. You go Suarez batting fourth. You go Steer batting fifth, playing left field. Then you get Stewart back in this lineup playing first base. That left-handed lineup could mash a little bit now. We've gone from who's going to hit a home run to they can score some runs. That lineup against left-handed pitching looks really, really good now with this addition of Suarez.
Well, and this also makes, because remember, whenever the Reds made the moves to add JJ Bleday and Dane Myers, they made, Nick Krall made a point to say, these are nice lottery tickets. Like, he said that. This would have been everybody's assessment of these moves, but the guy who made the moves said that. The Eugenio Suarez confirms that they believe that these are lottery ticket signings, because now these guys bat lower in the order. You don't have to worry about if they go off or not. And look, if it's Bleday, if it's Will Benson, whoever's the left-handed part of that platoon, looks awesome now, because you can play Spencer Steer maybe even a little bit more than a platoon wise. But I just think that strengthens the left field spot slightly more in ways that, like, if they just went and straight got a left fielder, maybe would not have, because I don't necessarily see a ton of available left fielders out there who's, not a big trade that will require half the roster to go get, like a Jarren Duran. Like, Eugenio Suarez was always a guy, as we entered this offseason, that I said his presence in this lineup makes sense. The way that the lineup is, the way that the roster develops around him makes sense, because as much as we were like, Spencer Steer isn't necessarily an everyday first baseman with the way that he hits. He's more of a super utility guy with the way that he hits, and he can play first base defensively pretty well. Ke'Bryan Hayes isn't necessarily the best option as far as hitting goes at a third base, but if you strengthen other spots, then you can live with that. if Matt McClain takes a big step forward there, like we think he will at second base, then it's either him or Noelvi Marte who bats second, and you feel better about that second spot, but you know who 3 and 4 are. I can tell you right now, as long as everybody's healthy, opening day, Elly De La Cruz bats third, Eugenio Suarez bats fourth. It should be that way from 1 to 162.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's gone from a place now where we use all the things we say. You got to squint. You got to turn your head sideways. You got to hope. MVP of 2026 is going to be hope. No, I'm hoping that Eugenio Suarez is going to be the MVP of 2026 now. There is a person to hang your hat on. This is only going to make Elly better as well, Jeff. He's going to be able to get back in with 2 good legs under him and do things now, get pitches to hit, be on base, be disruptive. You know, can you imagine, trying to pitch to Suarez and his 49 home run hitting self while also trying to pay attention to Elly De La Cruz and to keep him from stealing second on you and stealing third on you and then being able to score, even if Geno just puts the ball in the air? Like, there's a lot of options now that present themselves by Elly De La Cruz getting pitches to hit, getting legitimate at-bats to be able to be on base. This changes a lot of things, and it's more than just, Geno can hit some home runs. It creates opportunity for other guys in this lineup to do things, which is what the Reds needed.
And Elly is the important part about this as well, because when you watch Elly De La Cruz over his last couple of seasons, you can tell when he goes to the plate with an idea of, I'm just going to cause damage, I'm just going to get on base, I'm going to see how I can help the team. And I feel like that is a better at-bat than when he steps up to the plate and says, I have got to come up with a big hit here. Because when he does that, he strikes out more often than not. And now he still has plenty of time in his career to have a renaissance and really gain that ability. And I think that is how he unlocks his superstardom, is if he adds that to his game. And now he's got the ability to do this with Suarez behind him. But he can pretty much approach every single at-bat with his strength, which is the damage side of things. Get on base, cause disruptions with stolen bases and things like that. Take pitches, lay off of bad stuff. Like, if I'm Chris Valleca, I just called up Elly De La Cruz after this signing and I said, buddy, your whole approach to the plate just simplified a lot, because you're going to be able to wait for your pitch now. You're going to have to force, or pitchers are going to have to force themselves to throw strikes to you. And if it's a breaking ball, it's got to be in the zone. And I think that is so huge for this move in particular, not just the addition of Eugenio Suarez, but how this develops Elly De La Cruz, because I think that this can only help him having the presence of Geno in this lineup. And I cannot wait. I really hope our friends over at Cincy Shirts have already got to work on a Good Vibes Only t-shirt. Or maybe they just,
for sure,
picked one up from one they had a few years ago, but I can't wait to get one of them t-shirts.
So think about this. If you're Elly De La Cruz now, you're coming up to take your at bat. You're coming into the batter's box knowing that in this Cincinnati Reds lineup, there are 100 home runs in the lineup behind you.
Yep. Coming
up to bat after you. All you have to do is get on base. That's all you have to do to help this team win, is get on base.
Yeah, and that makes him so much more dangerous, I believe, in this entire thing. And that's the other part of this that Geno brings to the table, I think, is a little bit tougher to assess. There's not a number that really sets this up, but I think it's clear that one of the things that Eugenio Suarez brings to this roster is leadership.
If you can't watch us here on YouTube, you can follow us on pretty much every single audio podcasting platform that's out there. If we're not on one, you need us to be on. Message Jeff. He can probably make it happen for you. You can take us in the car. You can take us to the gym. You can take Jeff for a walk down by the river. He loves that. You can listen to us. And also, that's where you will find the Everydayer Club, the ad-free audio version of the show. Link for that is down in the show descriptions. $5 a month, $50 a year to go ad-free audio. Check that out today. All right, let's keep going with this. You're right. Eugenio is going to bring a lot of leadership to this lineup. He's going to bring a veteran presence that this lineup needs. And the Reds find themselves now, Jeff, having gone from a spot where I said, as recently as a month ago, I talked about the fact that I really thought the Reds and the Pirates were going to be battling for third place in this lineup, or in this division, because of the weaknesses within the Reds lineup. Because of the weaknesses offensively. That is all out the window. That has changed. My opinion now, looking at this lineup, having a bona fide bopper in it, the Cincinnati Reds are now competing with the Cubs and the Brewers to try and get into that division championship versus just trying to battle to be in the conversation for a wild card. It changes things that much for me. And we're going to do a whole show tomorrow talking about offseason grades and why we think they're at where they're at and what all that means.
Yes.
But what this means for me is when we're looking at the National League Central, Brewers, Cubs, Reds competing for the team that's going to win between 85 and 90 games and win this division.
Easily. And I think that you look at the Reds a lot more confidently than you did even 24 hours ago, because this is the one move that they needed. I've stood on a table all off season. I've said, look, the lineup isn't bad. It's just not good. It's mid, right? It is aggressively mid. Its run per game average was right below league average. Its batting average and its on-base percentage were right there around league average, and its slugging percentage was slightly below league average, so you had to see that tick up. That's what Eugenio Suarez provides, the extra base potential. And he even did this while he was a Red, not just necessarily the home runs, but the doubles. He was able to hit those gappers that really brought in the runs of the guys that are on base. This is not a guy that it's a homer or bust, 3 true outcomes type dude, albeit there's going to be some folks that really cringe at the 228 batting average, but we've talked about that too, where the league average batting average was 242 last year. So while he was still below that number, it's not as if he was egregiously below that number.
I want to say this. I want to say this again. It's the same thing I said when we did this on the live show. If you didn't catch the whole live show, I do not care. I do not care that he hit 228. I care that he hit 49 home runs. I care that he had 118 RBIs, Jeff Carr. I do not care how many times he struck out. I do not care that he hit 228. I care about that 526 slugging percentage. I care about the 3.6 WAR that he put up in 2025. Those are the numbers that you care about. And if you're going to come at me with a 228 batting average, get out of here. You are not going to thief my joy. This is a great signing.
And we're talking about a dude with a career isolated power. Isolated power, by the way, is slugging percentage minus batting average. Career ISO of 218. For anybody that was close to regular playing time last year, and obviously Will Benson wasn't that close to regular playing time last year, but Will Benson had the best isolated power on the team at 209. The career total for Eugenio Suarez, the back of the baseball card that includes everything, including years that people would deem as bad, is still better than what the Reds had last year in isolated power. There's so much to love about this, but to bring it back to the leadership qualities of this, like, I think that's an important part too, because he's going to be able to assist in leading this clubhouse. I don't think he comes in and he just takes over the reins and he's like king of the clubhouse. I think that we heard that that's Matt McLain. Matt McLain's the leader of this ball club. But Matt McLain and Eugenio Suarez together, I feel like Geno has always been labeled as one of the best teammates that anyone's ever had. And that is just going to feed this team because they talk so much about team fit, roster fit. How do they work with the guys that are on the ball club already? And Eugenio Suarez is going to do that seamlessly. So much about this move is not just that the stats look good. It's not just about, well, the money is pretty high as far as what the Reds pay for their current players on the roster. It's about everything. The entire picture just makes so much sense. We've been saying that since day one of the offseason. We've been saying that since the trade deadline last year. Just go get this dude, bring him in, and the team is better. Now the Reds have him. And I cannot wait to see exactly how high they go, because now my expectation is that they go win the division.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's going to be a lot of time to unpack how they match up with teams like the Brewers and the Cubs. But the fact is they are now immediately in that conversation. Looking at the good vibes of it all, looking at how Eugenio Suarez is going to fit in and lead, or at least provide some leadership with this group of Reds. If you recall, when all of these rookies came up, when Matt McLain came up and Elly came up, and they started calling up all the rookies and the energy that brought and the attitude that brought and the way that the team interacted with each other on the team and the way that they related to the fans, all of those things, that's what Geno started. That energy is what Geno brought forward with the good vibes only. It was that playful attitude while looking for success and doing big things and hitting all the home runs and having all the energy. Geno is going to fit right in just instantly, like plug in, like he's just going to Lego right into that thing. He's going to fit. There is no worry in my mind at all that Geno is going to come in and have any problem fitting in with this group. And you're right. We heard from a lot of guys at Reds Fest. If you listened and read between the lines of the things that were said by the players in every event, Matt McLain is a leader on this team. Matt McLain, you and I said it at the time, could inevitably end up with that C on his chest and be the next person to get the captain designation for the Reds if somehow the Reds find a way to keep him around here long term. That's the role that Matt McLain has. Geno is just going to augment that and supplement that and be able to bring the, I've seen some things answer to this clubhouse and talk about, how to approach hitting and talk about how to do the things that he does. This is big for everybody involved. It's more than just the stats on the back of the baseball card. It's that energy. It's that effect that he's going to have on everybody around him, helping each player in this roster, in this lineup, to elevate to the next level, which is what we've been saying has to happen for the Reds to find success. Everybody has to take that next step. Geno's going to help make that happen.
I am so unbelievably excited about this now. And I'm seeing people, and as we're recording, I'm seeing my phone blow up and different people reaching out to me. And I see folks on social media just like losing their minds with excitement. And folks are just like, I'm buying this ticket package. I'm going to make sure I go to this many games. This is what the Reds needed so bad this offseason, because those other guys, while some might argue that you could have made a smart move out of Miguel Andujar or Rhys Hoskins or whatever, those guys don't do that. And maybe the team experiences success, and so there's a delayed reaction where people buy into this ball club. But right now, people are buying into this ball club as pitchers and catchers report, which is a massive difference from even where we were 24 hours ago. And just letting my imagination just have some fun for a minute, seeing Eugenio Suarez smack a home run on opening day to beat the Boston Red Sox. I'm so excited, dude, and I cannot wait. There's so much more that we have to bring to the table with all of this coverage. Man.
Let's wrap up with this question, Jeff. Let me throw one more question at you. Given your energy level right now, my energy level right now, I imagine this has the same impact on the guys on this team. What is the over-under? The over-under on the projected 26-man active roster that are in Goodyear when pitchers and catchers report? I'd say 25. The answer is 25 and a half. Everybody is going to be there on the first day. You watch.
There might be like one or two, but I doubt it even then. Like the projected 26-man, because like there's a couple of dudes that you could argue at the end of the bench there, but for the most part, we pretty much know who it is at this point. Mm-hmm. I got to believe that they're mostly all out there. Some of them might already be out there and have been out there, like getting ready for this, because they know they're so pumped up. And like, that was something that Pierce Johnson had said about coming here. Like, he was so pumped up to be on the same pitching staff with his friend Emilio Pagan. That was something that we heard from Emilio Pagan the moment that he was signed, is that he's like, get ready, big things are coming. And some people were like, oh, he means the Kyle Schwarber. I think he just means in general, like, he understood the demeanor of this front office was, we are going to make the team better. And while the fan base and those of us who have become a little bit jaded watching how this team operates, we're just not sure that they were going to deliver. Boy, have they ever. This is exactly what they needed.
Watch out, Los Angeles deferrals. We're coming for you. And that is where we're going to wrap up this edition of Locked On Reds.
Thanks as always. Central.
No, buddy, you can't thief my joy either. You can't do it. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Reds. Thanks as always for making Locked On Reds your first listen each and every day. For the video, folks, we're going to send you over to Locked On's first ever 24/7 national sports channel, where the experts of all the Locked On Podcast Network are going to bring you your sports information and news. And if you're in the audios, you've made us your first listen. Go make Locked On MLB your second listen. Sully's got you covered over there with Major League Baseball as a national perspective. Make him your second listen today. We're going to be back in your feeds tomorrow, continuing to break down the Eugenio Suarez news, as well as start to get you ready for pitchers and catchers reporting out in Goodyear next week. Can you believe it? The long, cold winter is almost over, and we'll have you covered because we're going to keep you locked on Reds every single day.
Good vibes are back like they never left, and I'm so pumped.